Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 52nd episode of Slime Time, the official Dragon's Quest Dragon's Den podcast. This is Liamland.
And this is Pendy.
Today, we're going to be talking about a Dragon Quest puzzle game called Dragon Quest Keshi Keshi, or Kesh Keshi, as they pronounce it in the game.
So that's two Keshis. Keshi is Japanese for one of those cute-styled collectible erasers, right? Does Keshi Keshi mean two erasers, or is one eraser erasing the other?
Well, then it would just be Dragon Quest Keshi.
Okay. So why didn't they just call it Dragon Quest Keshi?
Keshi. Then the Keshi potentially erases the quest, and then you're just left with Dragon Keshi.
So to get Dragon Quest Keshi Keshi, you need to add at least 4 Keshis total after the Dragon Quest. Then the last 2 Keshis cancel out the first 2 Keshis, and you're left with Keshi Keshi.
Well, I'm puzzled. I think this is more thought than was put into the actual naming. 2 Keshis is just cuter than one, so that's probably where they were going with it. Well, anyway, today we welcome Joe from Big Shark Gaming to the podcast. Welcome, Shark.
Hello.
So I am recording via quarantine. I'm in basically hotel jail. So I was on a flight from New York to Japan, and I was home at my mother-in-law's quarantining for 2 weeks. And I was about 6 days into the quarantine when we got a notification on our mobile app, which the government uses to keep track of you during quarantine. And the notification essentially said that somebody on the flight got sick after we landed. So here I am. I'm about halfway through. I get out of quarantine after Christmas, so I'm actually going to be missing my family. My wife got out of the whole thing because we have 2 kids and she needed to take care of them. So here I am. I'm just catching up on PlayStation games that I missed out on when my son was born like 4 years ago. So old stuff like the South Park Fractured Butthole game, of course, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and this other game called Little Nightmares that I'm just obsessed with. So yeah, it's been interesting. I used to live this type of life, this isolation, when I was a single guy. In between girlfriends, I'd play a lot of video games at home. So I just I understand how to do this without sitting around going nuts in a small hotel room all the time. But yeah, so that's it. It also allows me to try out some Dragon Quest games that I haven't been able to before, like Dragon Quest X for the Switch. I'm trying to kind of figure out how to transfer my game from the free version to the paid version. So I was using Austin from Geek to Geek Media has a blog about it. But as I was kind of going through the steps of that, it looked like the server for that was down. So I'm kind of on hiatus with Dragon Quest X until I can figure that out, because I don't want to play through the free version and then have to start all over again when I get to version 3 or get past that. Other games, the one we're about to talk about, Keshi Keshi, I've played a little bit of. I got into an error message that stopped me from playing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then just today, the Dragon Quest Baby and Kids Let's Play with Slime, which is based on the character art from the children's book Slime PPP that came out a couple of years ago. And I'm actually... coincidentally, I'm actually working on a translation for that children's book. One of the things I did when I was in New York was scan every page of the book from cover to cover, and I'm going to work on translating. It's a very simple children's book for kids, so obviously my 4-year-old is able to read it to me.
That's awesome. And there's we have a lot of emoji that are in the Dragon's Den Discord that I think it was Metal Slime, our member there, actually took that art and used it for a lot of slime emoji that we have. So it's interesting to see that get more play with this new game.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of it is educational. Some of it is just there's three chests, and you just pick which one isn't the mimic, basically, and some of it is just kind of bouncing slimes around on a staircase, which is actually legitimately straight like a straight out of the book. And then there's the one that's just like letters, learning the different characters of the Japanese alphabet, which I'm currently in the middle of right now. So it's interesting because when you select the character, the slime will actually say it in like a little high-pitched, cutesy little slime voice. So it's cool. It's definitely easier to use that if you know some of the characters already, because the slime voice is so high pitched it's a little hard to hear in the game. So I'm poking around on it, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense unless I know the characters already. And I can kind of make that connection. Otherwise, it's kind of a little bit hard to hear. But overall, it's a fun little children's game, and I'm looking forward to getting out of quarantine so I can actually play it with my kids.
Nice.
So yeah, let's get to know our guests. So Shark, how did you originally get into the Dragon Quest series?
So it's a little bit of a dated story. It's actually back when it was even Dragon Warrior. I remember big Italian family. So I used to go over to my Aunt Liz's house, and her son Mario was playing a game one day, and it turns out it was Dragon Warrior Monsters. And I remember like being in school and like looking forward to getting a report card because that's the game that I wanted to get. He was playing it on like the virtual console or like that Game Gear thing that you plugged into the Super Nintendo. And I remember like seeing like the character art and seeing all this. I was like, oh, this is great. This looks awesome. And I went to his toy store called Sukon's, which doesn't exist anymore. It became like a liquor store. And I bought what was Dragon Warrior 3, and I was playing it. I was like, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem like it's the same game. And I remember like going back over to like a birthday party to my aunt's house and being like, Mario, what's going on with this? He's like, oh, I was playing the spin-off Dragon Warrior Monsters. Now you're playing Dragon Warrior 3. And I was like, oh, cool. And it took me like 14 years to beat Dragon Warrior 3 because it's one, very long and very difficult, especially for my 7-year-old self. But that's essentially how I got into Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior. So it's been a long, long road.
Awesome. Did you buy a full copy of Dragon Warrior 3, or did you get it used?
No, I bought a brand new copy. I actually have 2 copies of them. It's like the Game Boy Color cartridge. Some kid in school randomly gave it to me. Uh-huh. I remember his name was Steven. He just walked over and was like, here, you look like you would like this game. And I was like, oh, cool. Now I have 2 copies of this game. So I have one.
That's amazing.
One that's used. Yeah.
I wish I knew people who were just giving away games, just walking up to you and be like, here you go. Here's the game.
Yeah, it was literally that. It was just like, you look like you would like this game. I was just playing. I remember playing MLB Baseball 1998 and on my Game Boy Color at my lunchtime. And he just like walked over and was like, here. I was like, oh, cool. I have this already, but I won't say no.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, did you buy it? I realized midway through that question you were talking about the Game Boy Color version because the NES version actually came with a walkthrough as the booklet. Like the actual booklet was like the entire walkthrough of the game.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so there's no need to buy any kind of guide for it or anything like that.
That would have been super helpful. I remember the first time playing, getting stuck in the pyramid and just being like, oh, this sucks. I'm not going to sit here and walk a step and battle a monkey every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I think that's even more brutal in the NES version because the curse follows you like throughout the game. So like it pretty much forces you to sell this one of the strongest claws in the game for the fighter.
Yeah, you get to actually use it in the remakes, but the NES version not so much, unless you want to just use it for leveling up.
Yeah,
so I think you put it in. I think. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna say you could sell it for quite a bit.
Yes,
because it is a golden claw.
And it's so funny and sad that you had that toy store that ended up being a liquor store.
Yeah, it was a weird transition. It went from toys to furniture to liquor. So I feel like it literally followed my life transition of toys, furniture to liquor, which no longer care about furniture, no longer care about liquor, but still toys. So I went full circle.
That's funny. I like it. So what's your favorite mainline and spin-off game in the Dragon Quest series?
Mainline for me is definitely Dragon Quest 9. I think that was the one that I had the most fun with, and it was definitely like the time where like Jay was starting to understand Dragon Quest a little bit more. So we had a lot of fun going through like the grottos and playing it together and just chilling out, going into like the grottos and fighting super bosses and finding all these cool monsters and being silly, like doing like the captain's curtsy with our characters. Create a character was great. I feel like it had such a really deep character creation when it comes to that. So definitely easy choice for my favorite mainline game. In terms of spin-off, it would probably be Monster Joker 2. it was probably the least good monster game in terms of story, but the after gameplay was great. And I used to love like the weekly tournaments that they would do and like the scout rankings. Those were always really fun. And I spent a lot of time just like building up a team, finding out what was the best monster, and again playing with Jay. Like we used to build teams that would like deliberately counter one another. So it was always fun just to be like, I won up to you this time. So a lot of like the Dragon Quest games come back and forth, just like me and my brother, beating each other up in them.
That's nice. Great. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun memories playing games with my brother as well. He's 4 years younger than I am. So once he got old enough, then that was fun doing that kind of thing. Like whether it was like Secret of Mana or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever. And you totally reminded me of 9 and how your characters could do those little moves. Like you could do like spin around or wave or whatever. I forgot about all those little tiny moves that you could do.
Yeah, they were great. Just they were silly and fun, and like it'd be the best one. Like you would run ahead, and you'd be standing by the boss waiting for them for like 15 minutes to get caught up, and you'd just be sitting there just like swinging your arms back and forth, like this is my monster. He's gonna beat you. And you just proceed to go into battle with them and just do nothing.
And you got a kindred spirit here with Liam, and with 9 being your favorite. So that's one of his as well.
Yeah, I think that particularly with 9, the folks who are able to take advantage of the multiplayer and get the DLC and all that tend to have a more favorable view of the game than the majority of the Western fans that weren't able to, because they don't live in areas with large populations where there might be other Dragon Quest fans close by and be able to play. So yeah, I the first time I played the multiplayer, and the majority of my time spent in multiplayer is with the Nintendo New York Tag Mode Tuesday group, which started as an actual event at Nintendo World, which is what it was called back in 2010 or whenever the game came out, and then it's something that the fans kind of took over. So
yeah, me and Jay actually went to a couple of those. Actually, come to think of it.
Oh yeah, you may have. If you didn't meet me, if it was early on, you probably, I didn't show up until maybe like a couple months in, because I missed the launch event because I was still playing Dragon Quest V at the time, and I was like, no, I must finish this first. So I missed out on all that big stuff, but you probably definitely met Sam or RPG Wizard, and maybe Deca Blue and some of the other folks that were there, when I first started going, sometime around like September, October.
Yeah, it's definitely a small world. We're all in the same place at the same time 10 years ago, and here we are at the same place at the same time.
Yeah. More or less. I mean, I'm halfway across the world at the moment, but yeah, we did grow up in the same state. That's for sure. Yeah, and we used to live in the same city.
Yeah, we're all New Yorkers here.
Yeah,
that's true. You're an upstate New Yorker too. That's right, Pendy.
Yep.
Originally, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that draws you to the series most, Shark? Why do you like Dragon Quest more than other RPG series than some other?
There's just so much to it. I feel like Dragon Quest has done so well in terms of just evolving and staying relevant and finding like the little things that like maybe the previous game didn't do so well. And I feel like they do actively listen to like fan feedback, except, like with the localization issues that they have, and incorporate that into later games. You look at like Dragon Quest XI, and people wanted a more vast and open experience, and then we got that. People were saying, oh, maybe Dragon Quest is a little bit too cheerful and it's a little bit too bright and vivid. And now we're getting Dragon Quest XII, which is promised to be a much darker experience. And there's also things for everybody. There's a lot of the RPG games. There's spin-off games. There's silly games. People really liked Pokemon Mystery Dungeon by how silly it was. And then we got stuff like Rocket Slime. So there's literally a game for everybody in every subsect, whether it's a tactical RPG, whether now it's a match 3, or just like a JRPG game similar to like what they like in Final Fantasy and Persona. There's literally a game for everybody. And that's a big draw for me.
Yeah, it's very expansive now, what you can get out of Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
So do you have any, when it comes to the Dragon Quest world then, do you have any favorite monsters or characters from the series?
Definitely favorite character is torn either between Terry or Sylvando. And monster is definitely going to be a Killing Machine and an Uber Killing Machine monsters. Uber Killing Machine specifically is my overall favorite, but any of those robots, Robuster 2, except like the really big Sagittarius one. I don't really care for him, but like definitely like the Robo Mechs are my favorite.
The Trauminator.
Yeah, Terminator. That's the one that is like the Sagittarius. Oh God, don't really care for his design. He kind of weirds me out a little bit. Not gonna lie.
I always read it in the Arnold voice. When I think it's meant to be read that way when he talks. I must trauminate you. So, do you have any favorite mechanics in Dragon Quest games? Monster collecting, job classes, or casinos, or anything?
Oh God, casinos. As you said, casino, it just brings back so many memories of just being like, I'm only gonna spin like one more time, and then next thing you know, you're 5 hours deep in the slots, and you've gotten the metal stacks and silver reels. I remember like there was one time where we were playing, I believe it was Dragon Quest 7, and Jay was going out to go food shopping with my parents, and he was like, hey, I'm playing poker. I need to get this sword. Do you want to help me out? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll play for a little bit. And he came back and everything was unlocked. Casinos and me, not a great mix. Favorite mechanics is probably going to be monster breeding in general. I do love when you could incorporate monsters into your team. That's a preference to me. And being able to like breed monsters and create new ones or stronger versions of the ones you have. This way, you bring your friends with you. It's always a great feature.
Cool. Nice. So what is your experience with Dragon Quest gacha games? Looking over your Big Shark Gaming YouTube site, you seem to have played a lot of them, or at least your team has.
So yeah, played a lot of Dragon Quest gacha games. Dabbled in the ones that were never really long-lived. We did Dragon Quest of the Stars. Jay did Rivals. I played a bit of Superlight as well. Obviously, Tact we've been involved in. We did a closed beta test together, which was awesome. Now we're doing Keshi Keshi. I've done Dai, and I've played quite a few different Dragon Quest gacha games. It's kind of my thing.
Awesome. Yeah, we were just talking. Your brother Jay is actually was on our Rivals episode, and so he was able to talk to us about the game as it was kind of phasing out in Japan, and we were able to see a lot of information about it that we didn't know about, kind of while it was undergoing its run. In a way, it was also kind of sad because it was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm sorry it's going, but hopefully, hopefully some of that, at least the images, I think a lot of it has been backed up since. So there's there's some silver linings there.
Yeah, a lot of nice art came out of that game.
Yeah, definitely. So could you explain to us what Big Shark Gaming is all about?
So we originally started off as news and reviews for anime and gaming. We were doing Tumblr, believe it or not. We were probably one of the few non-adult Tumblr sites available. And we slowly transitioned to doing YouTube Let's Plays. And the one thing that we wanted to showcase was maybe not all the finest moments. Maybe like we make a joke that's not funny and we just, would normally edit that out and just move on from there. Maybe like we did not play that game the best that we could have. We're an idiot, like me being in Dark Souls 2 and saying, I wonder if anyone's beat this game without dying. I'm going to try, and then proceeding to like promptly roll off the bridge.
Go ahead. I definitely enjoyed your video on how to put any game on the Switch. If you haven't, if any of the audience hasn't seen that video yet, definitely check that one out. It's pretty good.
Yeah, if you guys want to learn how to put literally any game onto the Switch, check out that video. Self-plug, because you could put anything on the Switch and make it work just by following those simple techniques.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely helpful. Since I just got a Switch, I was very excited to learn about that.
But that's one of the things that like we took a lot of pride in. One being like very heavy with our community. We wanted to make sure that everybody coming in wasn't just somebody who's watching. Whether they were, young or old, it doesn't really matter to us. And we always wanted to show off like the real side of gaming, not just like edited clips of highlight reels. We wanted to show off when we play Fortnite, we might go 5 or 6 streams without getting a win and we get eliminated quickly in every single game. We didn't want to hide that because not everybody is good at every single game. And that's one of the things that we took a lot of pride in, and just like showing like, dang, we lost on level 1 of Super Mario Bros. That should never happen, but we did it, and there's proof.
This is probably why I don't play games with my brother, because they, anymore anyway. So we'd be playing Super Mario Brothers as kids, and I'd be Mario, I'd jump over the hole, and he would pause on the second controller right when I'm over the hole. And when you do that, as soon as you unpause, Mario just drops straight down into the hole.
Yeah, we played Ibn Ob, and that game broke our friendship for about a week. It was bad. It was like midstream screaming at each other because we just couldn't get it going.
Well, that's got to be interesting, like a civil rivalry going on, like complete fighting like on the stream.
Yeah, I typically play like if we were wrestlers, he'd beat a babyface and I'd beat a heel. So there's a lot of like I'm the older brother. I'm like Pendy is. I'm 5 years older than him, and he gets the little brother shtick a lot.
All right. So all right. So let's talk about Keshi Keshi. Shark, can you walk us through the basic plot?
Okay, so they pretty much give away the plot right away. Essentially, you are trying to undo the crimes of an evil pen and his doodles against the history books of Dragon Quest. So you're going through and you're befriending monsters who are in the form of Keshi Keshi, Keshi rather, and just going and undoing these crimes. So you're fighting monsters that were bosses that were placed there by this evil pen that was just doodling. And I love the idea that like it's a pen that came to life and is evil and is just trying to like ruin things. Cause like we've all been at work in some way, shape, or form and bored and just doodled over things and like, oh man, I shouldn't have drawn on that. I need that. And like that kind of is what it reminds me of. And right now they're factoring like the Dragon Quest 1 event. So it's like, oh cool, this guy, he cares not at all about the history of Dragon Quest. He wants to ruin everything. And to me, that's a bad guy. So it's a pen, sure. But man, he's a bad pen.
That's fun. That sounds like fun. So what are the gacha elements to this game? What kind of erasers are you rolling for? From what I've seen, it looks like the gacha elements you're trying to collect like monsters and characters erasers and also weapons, I guess.
Yeah, so it's a mix. And right now they're actually doing a Dragon Quest 1 gacha machine, and they're also doing a mixed one, which features Killing Machine, a dual-wielding warrior, as well as Great Drac. Previously they did like Archdemon. But yes, you do get weapons. You do get like swords, whether it's like the Dragon's Bane, or you get like the Firebrand. I just recently got the Falcon Blade. And the swords can be a mix of either alchemy materials, which in this game you can actually alchemize some monsters, and you could also use them in battles. But I found like they're a little bit lackluster to use in battle, to be honest. The real go-getter is the Archdemon. He's pretty brutal.
Nice. I had a reaction to Falcon Blade, and yes. Pendy started laughing because in every that's my go-to weapon for Dragon Quest 9. So in every gacha game, it's like, oh, I got to get the Falcon Blade. When
I found out you could get 2 Uber Falcon Blades in Dragon Quest 11 and pair them with Eric, I was a happy lad.
Yeah, it doesn't hit. I think as much as, or at least a single one doesn't hit as much as it does in if you pair it with Falcon Slash, you can hit for what is it, 4 in a row. I'm not sure if you can dual wield. Can you do how many total hits can you get with Eric?
So you could dual wield Uber Falcon Blades and get up to 8 hits. And if you do,
that's even more insane. Wow.
Eric's move where he does the double trouble, and you have the 2 of him. It's silly how much damage you can do.
16 hits.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So yeah, so Falcon Blade was my kind of go-to weapon. You double drop defense with the Stardust Sword or Stardust or Hypernova or whatever, and then switch over to the Uber Falcon Blade and just kind of Falcon Slash away. That was our basic go-to strategy for any gladiators in our legacy boss fights. So
one oomph and it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and so then when the gacha games started coming out and I started seeing in Quest of the Stars there was a Falcon Blade, I was just like, oh, that's my mission. I got to get that Falcon Blade. That was my retirement for Stars. I have horrible gacha luck. I just
you were trying to get that forever.
I was trying to get that forever, and then when I finally got it, it was like at the tail end of my interest in playing the game. I was like, all right, I'm done. I got it. That's what I accomplished for the game. So,
well, speaking of your gacha luck, what about Joe? What do you think about the gacha in this game? Like, how generous is it compared to other gacha games have you played? Like, Intact in the beginning, you would get this Killing Machine banner that had like an unlimited roll where you could keep going and going until you got what you wanted. Is there anything that you know of that's in Keshi Keshi as well?
So there's not, and I honestly, one of the big things I'm disappointed at, and I'm not like the person to get like upset over bad gacha luck, especially in a game that I'm kind of just trialing. But it's pretty miserable. Since I've played, and Liquid Metal Slime has been much luckier than I have in terms of pulls. Since I've played, I have only acquired 2 5 stars. And I've got a few like 4 stars, but I have not had very good luck in this game at all.
Yeah, that's the thing about gacha games is that, and I remember this all the way back to Super Light, is that everyone else seems to have way better luck than I do. I don't know. Maybe they're paying for it. I'm not really sure, but just everyone had these like S rank monsters.
Literally get anybody else to pull my pulls except for me. Normally it's my fiance. I'll be like, listen, you do this pull because you have better luck than I do. She's one of the luckiest people I know, and it's not because she has me, but it just because like her luck is a lot higher than mine is.
Yeah, her luck points.
Yeah,
she's
she's
got more luck stats.
Max and got the highest luck stats. And
nice. So how do the game mechanics work? Are there any similarities to other puzzle games?
So it is a traditional match 3, match 4, match 5, where if you match 3 and you're near a monster, you do damage, or if you don't, then everything kind of cascades. If you match 4, you get a bigger eraser that can erase either vertically or horizontally. If you match 5, you get a player character based upon what you match. Anything higher than that, and it's kind of just a waste. So you can match, realistically speaking, 2, 4, 7 erasers together, and you'll still just get the player character. So obviously, it's a little bit better to just match 3 and 4 if you can, and then match 5 if the situation provides for it. Because getting those player characters are normally huge. They all have their own special effects and ultimates, especially if you pair them together. Which, if you didn't know, you could pair both the horizontal and the vertical eraser together, and it erases in a plus. And then each player character eraser has its own special effect. And then they kind of bounce off of one another if you pair them together. Or if you pair 2 together, you get like a super ultimate attack. And then those kind of get very, very crazy very, very quickly. So it's fun. It's, objective is kill the monster and do it as quickly as possible.
Okay. So wait, so how do you do damage to it again? You have to basically match 3 or more near it.
So it has to be right next to it. So either you could pop an ultimate who has its own special skill that does damage, or you could make a connection literally adjacent to the monster that you're targeting. But you could target multiple monsters at once if it happens to be everything that was connected to it. So if there's like 2 or 3 monsters in that row that are all connected to that match, it does damage to both of them. Some monsters have more than one space as well. So they might be 2x2 or 1x2 or even bigger. Some monsters are 3x3. And every spot for that monster that's next to that match takes damage.
Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't realize
there's a couple of other little things, like there's a sword and there's some kind of it's like a little tube or something, and then what do those extra kind of features do?
So it really depends on what your monsters are using. So that tube that you see in the top left, it'll change whatever monster is currently in cycle. So when you fill up that bar, it'll generate a player character of that eraser, and then it will switch to the next one in your team. So essentially when you have that up, if it's showing you like, for example, a copper sword, every match you do with a copper sword will fill that gauge up a little bit. And when it gets full, you'll get a player character that you could then get randomly placed on the map that you could use to do like an ultimate. So at the end of the game, if you have a whole bunch of ultimates stored up, it kind of just cascades and cascades and cascades until all that bar is done, and you could just go for like crazy combos. So it is kind of crazy towards the end, and the more HP you have, the more points you get, which triggers more and more of these tubes and these special characters being summoned. But that's just an additional way of like, if you're kind of staggering through the dungeon and you're having a hard time, you could just sit there and you could fill up that one targeted monster until you get the player character, and a lot of times that'll help you out.
Okay, and I noticed that you guys were talking about like a level up system too. What does that do for you as you level up?
So every monster has HP and attack. There's no defense, there's no magic or anything like that. They all just have their HP and attack. When you level up their monsters, it's increments of 10, and then you have to pay to unlock the next 10. So for example, my Hellion has 124 HP and 175 attack at level 39 out of 40. In one more level, I will have to unlock him and pay gold to unlock levels 41 through 50. But every time you unlock them, they do get an additional set of stats, and then they also have awakening. So pulling duplicates, similar to like in Dragon Quest Tact, it goes to an awaken, and then once they're awakened so high to get special other effects. Again, to pull Hellion into it, because he's my most awakened monster, when you activate his ultimate, it triggers in the form of an X, and it's 3 blocks out. So it's a pretty big X. And then everything that happens that be destroyed in that area, if it triggers a monster, it does a lot of damage. If it destroys all the blocks, they'll cascade. But at the end of it, he'll also drop a bomb. And then at the end of all the resolutions of the falling cascades and combos, that bomb will explode and do it all over again. So you have an opportunity to do just a ton of work in one play. But leveling up your monsters you could do in scrolls or through general gameplay. And then just to unlock their next set of levels, then you have to go ahead and pay a certain amount of gold, 200, 300, 400, and incrementally up to as high as you go.
Nice. And you mentioned paying for that with gold. So what's all the game currency in it? Because I know like in Tact and some others, you'd have like gold and gems, mini medals, and like sometimes like special event currency. Do they have that kind of stuff in here too?
So there's 2 different types of currencies. One is gold, and one of them is this blue hexagon thing that I don't know what it's called. And you use those. It's kind of like tact points, where like the more you do, the more you earn, and then you can use them to trade for things like chimera wings and also summoning medals. So you can use summoning medals to pull from the gacha machines as opposed to gold, because gold does a lot in this game. It does awakenings, it does your item buying and selling, it does your gashapon as well, it does monster awakening, it does a lot. There are tiny medals in the game as well, so if you clear a stage and you 3-star it, you get tiny medals, which then goes into your tiny medal book that you can use to unlock certain things every couple of tiny medals.
I like that there's a tiny medal book. You see that sometimes in the mainline games. Mm-hmm. Fill up the book.
So far.
It's awesome. So does the game have an original character or characters that journey with you and help you out, kind of like Cyril from Dragon Quest of the Stars or Mindini from Tact?
So there is, but not in the traditional sense. Mindini's and like Magellan are kind of just like guide characters. And in this one, you get Slime Hero, who starts off as a 3-star monster that you can use as a party monster. And through the course of doing special missions throughout the regular game mode, they actually allow you to power him up through alchemy. As I said before, you can alchemize in this game. You can actually fuse units together to get new erasers. So earlier in the game, you get a sword. If you fuse that with a 3-star Slime Hero, he goes to a 4-star. And then you get the Emblem of Courage later on in World 5, which you then can use to make the 5-star Slime Hero. So they give you a free Slime Hero 5-star as long as you have the ability to do work in it. And there's other missions as well where like you could mix and match other units as well. So like, for example, you could do like Fire Wisp plus the Copper Sword, and you get the Firebrand, which is a 3-star fire sword card or eraser that you could use to help you in your journeys.
Nice. And what's up with the character Stacy? I've seen her mentioned before.
So she's kind of just like the one who reacts when you score. She doesn't really have much of an effect in the story from what I've seen. She's kind of just there. But she kind of just gauges if you do a lot of combos. She comes up and like flashes a whole bunch of hearts, and if you kind of suck, then she lets you know it by doing like traditional her face and the distraught like anime blue bars next to her head. But as of yet, I'm in World 9. They haven't really disclosed too much about her, and then that might just be a translation thing.
Right.
Yeah, she kind of acts as almost like a cheerleader, kind of cheering you on, which early on in the game I enjoy. I enjoy that element of it. It's just positive reinforcement if you're doing well.
And what special events have they done so far? You mentioned Dragon Quest 1. Have there been any other special events so far that they've used other games?
So Dragon Quest 1 is the first one. It's definitely the kickstart for the event. They've done like other little like limited edition like gacha machines. Like they just did one for Archdemon, and before that they did one for like the hero. So there's like an elf character, there's a martial artist, and there's a warrior as well. So that was a machine that was available for pull for a short time. But Dragon Quest 1 is the official first event that they're doing in the season.
Gotcha.
So what other elements of Dragon Quest were added to the game beyond the puzzles?
To be honest, it is, and I hate to say that like it is like a cloaked game, because it kind of is. I like it a lot so far, and I love the alchemy pot and the breeding. But at the end of the day, it does do really well as just being, okay, this is a Dragon Quest game. Throughout the map, there is various monsters that you can talk to. It doesn't really do anything besides, just provide a little bit of a talk. It doesn't like unlock things for you, just kind of they're there. So it is a very well painted and covered up, match 3 game. It's similar to like Pokemon Go in a sense of like Pokemon Go at the end of the day is just a GPS app, but it also has like the coding of the Pokemon being there to fuel nostalgia and give you the incentive to keep playing. So as a Dragon Quest fan, seeing the cute renditions of my favorite monsters as an eraser, it's adorable. It's like, oh man, I want to collect this next one. Is Mad Dragon here? Killing Machine is there, and I'm not able to pull him at all. So it's like going through the map and be like, oh, that's cute. Like there's a green dragon right now in Dragon Quest 1, and it's just so adorable.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta fight him. I have to hurt him. I have to erase him from existence.
Yeah. They actually have those erasers in real life too. They made them most likely to promote the game, but you can actually get them. I've seen some images of them on Instagram, so I don't know exactly where to get them yet. If they're a giveaway or if they're some kind of rare thing, I'm sure they'll be up on eBay or Mercari for like way more than they're actually worth. But
I wonder if they'll pop up on like Play Asia at some point.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's something to look out for before the collector's market gets their hands on it and it becomes skyrocketing price wise.
Well, hopefully, if it ends up being a popular app, they'll be selling a lot of these erasers, so that won't be as much of an issue. But we'll see, I guess. Yeah, it can get pretty bad. I remember you could get because I got it through PlayAsia. I got the Switch Dragon Quest 11 edition of it, and at the time that I got it, it was around like 400 something, maybe 500. But after a few months after that, it skyrocketed up to like $1,000 to buy it off of PlayAsia. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I always wanted those. They were like Matchbox style cars, but with the slime for Toyota. Oh. And they made a very, very short run of those, and that was up online for ridiculous amounts too. Like thousands of dollars. So like definitely not affordable or reasonable. But had they made more, then So yeah, the Dragon Quest merch in general can sometimes be, especially the promotional stuff, can be really just a collector's market, which can be frustrating. But it is what it is. If you get in. If you get it at the beginning, then just consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, it's always good to get in early because I've seen that too, where like you can get in early when it first comes out, reasonably priced, and then it either just becomes unavailable or just ridiculous prices. It can be bad sometimes.
Yep.
But go ahead.
I just checked. PlayAsia does not have Keshi Keshi, but they do have a toilet paper cover.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh well, there's something.
Yeah, that was one of the newer items as well.
Nice.
So with Keshi Keshi, are there any mini games or multiplayer elements to this at all, or is it just all single player and just match 3 stuff?
So there's not a direct multiplayer, but there is a friending system, and you could actually send like the main like gameplay stamina is hearts. So you once a day you could actually send hearts to people who are on your friend and give them an additional way to play it a little bit longer. And there is also like a ranking system as well. So based upon your highest score for the week, whoever amasses the highest score goes into a ranking. Which the first week I did great. I have not done great since. And there's several tiers. So you start off unranked and you go into bronze 3, bronze 2, bronze 1, and silver, gold. And I assume there's platinum as well if you do really well. We don't know yet because the game hasn't been out long enough to get to that league.
Yeah, or maybe even rainbow like it is intact.
Yeah, or like Onyx.
Yeah.
So who knows? We'll find out more as the game progresses. This is the 3rd week now, so if anyone's higher than bronze 1, they're cheating. But yeah, so there is like a head-to-head ranking system, so it does give you incentive to kind of go ahead and try to do your best in stages, and maybe go back and play a stage that might have been a little bit easier now that you've leveled up your monsters a little bit. For right now for bronze 2, which I'm in, the top player has scored 248,000 points. So that's a lot. My average is about 135,000. So I have a lot of work to do in terms of getting better at this game. But again, it is a new game. I do refer to this as a trial period because I will play it when it inevitably becomes West on the Western edition. I have no problem playing it again because it is that fun.
Great.
But the ranking system is there. The friend system is there. and there is a benefit to having friends in the game.
So that's in terms of like 100,000 points, 200,000 points. Is that cumulative for total points that you've acquired throughout the game? That's not in one
It's in one run. So
really? Wow.
I thought it was cumulative at first. And no, not at all. It's literally like the ranking is your best score for a map during that week. So if you go on a map and you get really, really lucky or you play really, really well and you score 180,000 points, that's your score. If you beat it, then your score upgrades. If you do worse than that, it will stay whatever. It's essentially your highest score throughout the course of the week is added to the ranking system.
Wow, 100,000 points, let alone 200,000 is insane, but like even 100,000 is kind of mind-boggling.
Once you get to like the later tier in a game, scoring up there is pretty standard. And in fact, some of the stages actually require it. I just did the Dragon Quest 1 event, and for 3 stars it requires 142,000 points.
Wow. Okay. So as you kind of gain not necessarily levels, but as you build within the game, it becomes harder and the point system goes higher.
Right. And it's beneficial to go back and play stages that you could beat pretty seamlessly, especially when you have higher monsters, because the more HP you have, the more points you actually score. So if you go fight a boss that you could beat relatively quickly, use the Chimera Wing to double your score, and beat it pretty quickly and have a lot of HP pulled up, you'll get a pretty good ranking score. It's just that right now I haven't really had the interest to go and chase ranks. I've made that mistake before in TAC, and I just want to experience the game the way that it was meant to be designed before I start getting into like the nitty gritty and chasing ranks again.
Cool. So do you know any Japanese, or did you figure out all of it just on your own through a translation app?
I know none. I've picked up a few words here and there, but I have been using Google Translate to translate the things, which is always, a roller coaster. You get some good translations, and then you get stuff like I was translating the Genie Sanguini for TACT the other day, and it was like, oh, this monster does physical exercise and rarely takes a day off. I'm like, okay, what does this mean? It's like, thanks Google Translate. This is not helpful at all. So
yeah,
I've been playing. I figure out, and some stuff I kind of just try and translate the best I can.
Yeah, definitely. I've been playing Dragon Quest X like that, and that's just definitely like, there's so much that Google Translate will spit out there. You're just like, well, I know that's not what they're trying to say.
God forbid you miss like one kanji as well. And it's just like, oh, I missed that. And now all of a sudden it says, we're going to have chicken noodle soup for breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, it must just be really entertaining to be a fully native translator from Japanese to English, because then there's so much context, and I think that's where Google Translate really kind of falters, because the AI can't really fathom context yet, so it's kind of picking out guesses, like random guesses.
Oh yeah, I can't. It's just as bad, or maybe worse with Korean. It's just some of this. My wife has an active Twitter feed, and sometimes it's all in Korean, and sometimes I try and translate stuff, and I show it to her, and she's like, "No, that's not even close."
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it definitely it's something that I think we're a couple of versions away from Google Translate from getting the AI to really understand context and spit out something that's not, and all your base are belong to us kind of translation.
Well,
yeah,
hopefully
incorporating slang into it, it'll be okay. But I feel right now it's a little bit, too like proper spoken.
Yeah,
and hopefully we won't have to deal with this problem much longer, because as most of us know from the official English Dragon Quest Facebook page and the Twitter account, that Square Enix has announced that this game will be coming west at some point. So, Joe, have you heard any rumors on when this might be? I haven't heard anything yet myself.
So I have not heard any rumors, but taking experience of like doing closed beta testing and playing Japanese games before they come out, it's typically anywhere between 3 and 6 months. So I would honestly, and I'm going to say it right here, I'm going to place a bet on it. I'd say Keshi Keshi would be coming to the West, Erase at the end of February, early March of 2022.
Interesting. You think that that'll be the name too, Erase, or will they just call it, Dragon Quest Eraser or something like that?
So I was actually kind of thinking about it, because like technically it's like what Keshigomo is eraser, rubber eraser in Japanese. So it's like, why didn't they just call it that? But I think it will be eraser race when it does come west.
Okay, interesting.
I'm making that
yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get some of those erasers too when they, a promotional merch.
So.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out on Mercari and PlayAsia and eBay for that
I
stuff.
hope they give them away. Like what Dai did when they were coming out, they released like the pins that they did like a giveaway for. Mm-hmm. I actually won the pin. So that's really cool. Nice. And I gave them to Jay. But I won the pin of like Mom, Goma-chan, Pop, and Dai. And they were super nice. And I hope that they do something like that again.
Oh, awesome. That'd be sweet. Yeah, if they release the global version and as a promotion, they give away some erasers, that would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
In Ishigaki, there's only one Don Quixote, and they do have like very, very small amount of Dragon Quest merch, and nobody ever buys it. And one of the things that they have there is like a huge amount of like Dragon Quest die keychains, but it's the kind where you don't know what you're getting. You have to kind of open
mystery boxes.
Mystery box, exactly.
Oh, they're gotchaing everything.
Yeah, they gotcha everything basically.
Japan's been doing that for a long time with merch. Those mystery boxes, they love them.
Yeah. So I got a couple last year.
How like you have Japan that makes mystery boxes out of everything, and then like all of Europe is just like absolutely not.
Yeah.
They've been cracking down on that over there, like especially like Belgium, some other countries like that.
Yeah, Tact still isn't released in a lot of like European countries because of the gacha nature.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean it's not for everybody. I get that. But yeah, so the Dai little keychains, they're perfect for a Christmas tree. So I picked up a couple last year. I'm pretty sure the last time I went there, about a month ago, they still had them because nobody's buying them. So there are Dracway fans there, but I'm sure they ship stuff to the island, so they don't realize that's there because they also have 2 gem slime plushies, and those have been there for over a year. The only reason why I haven't bought them is because it's the only merch I've seen on the entire island, and I kind of want to leave it for somebody who's like either visiting or who's who lives there who really wants to have that merch. So yeah, if you're visiting Ishigaki or if you're planning on moving there, check out the Don Quixote for keychains and plushie.
Is it the gold one?
It's the gem slime.
Oh, I've got that. I picked that up when I was in Japan. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and
gold emperor slime.
Definitely Tokyo has, once they open up the border again, Tokyo has a lot of great places to get Dragon Quest merch. Especially like Artnia and Luida's Bar, and we
can all go to Dragon Quest Island.
Oh yeah, so we're planning on doing that. We're planning on doing that, but we were going to do it for my birthday, but it's in February, so it's going to be cold. So we'll probably wait until like May, just take a flight out to Osaka, and then just drive from there. It's a bit of a hike, but I think it's closer if you're near like the Osaka or Kobe area.
Yeah, definitely Kobe.
Yeah. But
we literally just got like Digimon stuff around here. Like, finally, it's been like a nonstop search for like just Digimon merchandise, and it's finally showed up, and I'm so excited. So maybe Dragon Quest is not too far off.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we could always do with more merch in the West. I remember always kind of hounding the folks at Comic-Con about that. We eventually got some slime plushies for sale. But yeah, it's the merch is we have that hashtag brag your DQ swag, which we used for kind of a little promotion for the Dragon's Den for a contest back in the day. And that's just something we use to like show Square Enix, like look what all the fans are importing.
Yeah, you had shared the photo of my shelf, and it like took off. It's like to this day, it's like our most like viewed tweet of all time, and it's all because like you had used like the brag your DQ swag. I can't really post a picture now because there's a giant picture of Santa there. Well, a giant candle Santa there, but it was like right after I redesigned it, and I was like, oh well, that just took off like a weed.
Nice. Well, Santa's a Dragon Quest character. He's in Dragon Quest 9 and 10.
This is true. Yeah, this is true.
He worked out significantly for 10. He's buff Santa. I don't know if you've seen those screenshots, but
I have seen those screenshots.
Yeah.
Actually,
so
They're on a line of like buff kangaroos, and it kind of just creeps me out. And
well, I mean, it makes more sense if Santa's delivering to 2 billion houses in the world or whatever. Whatever the population of Christian houses there are in the world. If Santa's delivering to all of them, he's not going to be like super out of shape.
All that lifting.
I'd imagine him doing some CrossFit.
Yeah, he'd at least be in good running shape, like if he could move as fast as the Flash. I don't know how we got there. We started talking about erasers, and now we've delved into Santa being a metahuman.
That's probably a good cue for the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this episode of Slime Time. We do want to thank Joe from Big Shark Gaming for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here finally.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. We're definitely less puzzled than when we started.
That is a DQ pun worthy of DQ. So we don't use Patreon. We don't believe in taking money from other Dragon Quest fans, and we can offer you quality content about the game series we know and love for free. So if you do have any money that is just completely burning a hole in your wallet and you'd like to donate anything to the website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 20 years, zoom on over to Dragon's Den at www.com. www.woodus.com/den. Reading is fundamental. And click on support this site. Woodus has owned and maintained the Dragon's Den DQ fan site for decades. He personally edits every YouTube video version of the podcast, and he fully appreciates any donations to help keep the servers running.
The Dragon's Den website also features an Amazon affiliate link. If you click the link and then make a purchase, a small fraction of the sale will go to support the Den, and it doesn't cost you anything.
To advertise with us, reach out to us at slimetimepodcast@gmail.com. If you have any comments or questions for the Dragon Quest Slime Time podcast, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slime Time.
Consider joining in tons of Dragon Quest discussions at the Dragon's Den forums, one of the few remaining forums still around. Find it from the Dragon's Den main page at www.woodus.com.
We're lucky this is a match 3, boys.
Yeah, right.
You can also
we matched 3'd Woodus and got rid of the
Oh, that's great. You can also find me and other rabid Dragon Quest fans through the Dragon Questers Facebook group.
If we got www.com because nobody ever thought to buy it, that would be amazing. Pretty sure that's taken.
Or next episode.
And you can also come and hang out with us and tons of other hardcore Dragon Quest fans on the officially unofficial Dragon's Den Discord server.
We'd like to thank everyone that made this possible, like Woodus, for his support of the series and this podcast and keeping the Dragon's Den lights on for decades.
Thanks to Amanda Lepre and the Descendants of Erdrick for allowing us to use their music for our podcast. Descendants of Erdrick is a video game tribute band from Austin, Texas. Check them out and their album Advent at www.descendantsoferdrick.com or on Twitter at @DofErdrick, and check out Amanda Lepre streaming on Twitch.
Our thanks to Dwayne Bullock, our wonderful graphic artist and Dragon Quest fan, for making the awesome artwork cover for this podcast. Dwayne was on the original iteration of the Slime Time podcast, doing many of the first episodes. You can check out more of his work at Dwayne Art on Instagram or his website at dwayneBullockart.bigcartel.com.
If you're looking for more Dragon Quest Slime Time, check out our earlier episodes on Dragon's Den, Anchor FM, Audible, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and more. And check out our brothers and sisters in arms over at the Slime Time Side Quest podcast. Their latest episodes are available now.
Bye, everyone.
Dragon Quest Slime Time, sliming off.